Hey, tonight we're going to journey back to the mysterious world of the ancient Maya. We'll explore their incredible civilization, feel the humid air of the rainforest on our skin, taste the bitter cacao on our tongues, and experience both the beauty and brutality of their world. If you're enjoying these stories, I'd really appreciate a like or subscribe. I'm curious where you're listening from, so drop a comment with your location and what time it is there. Now, find a cozy spot, take a slow, deep breath, and let your body sink into comfort as we journey back in time together. Congratulations, you've just woken up in the Maya world of the 8th century. The air is thick with moisture, wrapping around your skin like a warm, damp blanket. Your eyes adjust to the soft golden light filtering through the jungle canopy. You're lying on a simple reed mat in a small, one-room limestone house. The packed earth floor feels cool against your bare feet as you sit up and notice the intricate patterns woven into the mat beneath you. Your back is slightly stiff from sleeping on such a firm surface, but there's something refreshing about the simplicity of it. A small copal incense burner smoulders in the corner, releasing a sweet, earthy aroma that mingles with the scent of fresh corn tortillas cooking on a clay comel. Your stomach rumbles. You haven't eaten since yesterday, and the smell of food makes you realize just how hungry you are. You stretch your arms above your head, feeling your muscles loosen and relax. As you exhale, you notice the simple space around you. The walls are made of limestone, plastered with smooth white stucco. Colourful fabrics hang from wooden pegs, vibrant reds and blues dyed from natural plants and insects. A small altar sits in one corner with jade carvings and clay figures. Everything has its place in this modest home. Outside, you hear the village awakening. Children's laughter ripples through the air. The rhythmic pat-pat-pat of women's hands shaping corn dough into tortillas creates a soothing background rhythm. Someone nearby is chopping wood. Thunk, 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 the sound resonating through the ground and up into your body. You rise from your mat and step toward the doorway, pushing aside the fabric that serves as a door. The morning light momentarily blinds you. As your vision clears, you see that you're in a small Maya farming village, nestled in the lowlands of what will someday be called the Yucatan Peninsula. Simple, thatched roof houses dot the landscape, each surrounded by small garden plots. In the distance, beyond the milpa fields where corn, beans and squash grow together, you can see the white limestone pyramids of a ceremonial centre rising above the jungle canopy. Good news, you've arrived at the height of Maya civilization when art, architecture, mathematics and astronomy have reached their peaks. The calendar systems are incredibly precise and the Maya have mastered farming techniques that allow their civilization to thrive despite challenging conditions. Bad news, you've also arrived during a time when the Maya practiced bloodletting rituals and human sacrifice to appease their gods. These are not gentle people, despite their artistic and intellectual achievements. Life here is often brutal and short. A small, brown-skinned woman with almond-shaped eyes approaches you. Her hair is woven into intricate braids adorned with colourful threads. She wears a simple huipil, a loose white cotton tunic decorated with embroidered patterns, and a long skirt wrapped around her waist. Around her neck hangs a pendant carved from jade, the sacred stone of the Maya. She smiles, revealing teeth filed to points and inlaid with jade, a sign of beauty among the Maya elite. "You've slept late," she says, in a language you somehow understand. "The sun has already begun its journey across the sky. Come, you must eat before starting your work in the fields." You follow her back into the house, where she hands you a gourd filled with atole, a warm, sweet corn gruel flavoured with honey and chili. The liquid coats your tongue and warms your stomach. As you drink, she prepares a simple meal of corn tortillas, black beans, and avocado. The tortillas are warm and fragrant, nothing like the store-bought version you're used to. These are thick and slightly uneven, with charred spots from the comol. The taste is earthy and complex, the corn having been nixtamalized, soaked in limestone water to release its nutrients before being ground on a matete, a curved stone grinding surface. Eat, she encourages. Today is an important day. The king's procession passes through our village on the way to the ceremonial centre. We must prepare offerings. As you eat, you notice how the beans have been slow-cooked with epizota, a pungent herb that gives them a distinctive flavour. The avocado is perfectly ripe, its flesh creamy and rich. Such simple food, yet so satisfying. You find yourself breathing more deeply, your shoulders relaxing away from your ears as you savour each bite. The woman, who introduces herself as Ixchel, named after the Maya goddess of medicine and childbirth, explains that you are in a small farming community near Tikal, one of the most powerful Maya city-states. It is the year 750 CE, and the great king Jasor Chan Kawil has recently died. His son, Yikin Chan Kawil, now rules. Under his leadership, Tikal has defeated its rival city-state Kalakmul and expanded its influence throughout the region. You feel the weight of the jade pendant hanging around your own neck and realise you must be someone of importance here. Jade is reserved for nobility and those with special status. Your hands, though, tell a different story. They are calloused and strong, the hands of someone who works the land despite their status. You are troubled by strange dreams again, Ixchel says, noticing your confusion. The gods speak to you in your sleep, but their messages are difficult to understand. Perhaps the shaman can help after the harvest. After finishing your meal, you step outside again. The village is fully awake now. Men with simple loincloths and sandals made from plant fibres are heading to the fields, carrying stone tools for tending crops. Women balance large ceramic pots on their heads, making their way to the nearby cenote, a natural sinkhole that provides fresh water. Children run about naked or in simple tunics, playing with clay figures or helping their parents with chores. Your feet carry you down a worn dirt path toward the milpa fields. The cool earth feels good between your toes. You notice how your body seems to know where to go, even as your mind struggles to make sense of this new reality. The weight of the humid air presses against your skin, making each movement slightly more effort. Sweat beads on your forehead and upper lip, trickling down your back. Yet there's something pleasant about this direct connection to your body, to the environment around you. The milpa fields spread out before you, an ingenious system of sustainable agriculture. Unlike modern monoculture, the milpa contains multiple crops growing together. Tall corn stalks provide support for climbing bean vines, which fix nitrogen in the soil, while squash plants spread along the ground, their broad leaves providing shade that prevents weeds and retains moisture. This Three Sisters method of farming has sustained the Maya for centuries. You're handed a stone hoe by a man who seems to know you. His skin is deeply tanned from working in the sun, and intricate tattoos cover his arms and chest. Unlike you, he wears no jade, marking him as a commoner. Still, there's a dignity in his bearing, a pride in his work. The beans are ready for harvesting, he tells you. We must finish before the king's procession arrives. For the next few hours, you work alongside the villagers, harvesting beans and preparing offerings for the king. The physical labour is demanding but satisfying. You feel muscles working that have long been neglected in your modern life. There's a rhythm to the work. Bend, pick, place, move. Bend, pick, place, move. The repetitive motion becomes almost meditative. Your breathing synchronizes with your movements. The chatter of the workers around you creates a soothing backdrop of human connection. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, the heat intensifies. Sweat soaks your simple cotton clothing. Your back aches from bending. Your fingers are stained with earth and plant juices. But there's a strange contentment in this direct connection to the food you'll eat, to the community you serve, to the earth that sustains you. During a brief rest, an older man approaches. His face is deeply lined, his eyes cloudy with cataracts. He must be in his 50s, ancient by Maya standards, where the average lifespan is barely 30 years. He sits beside you in the shade of a ceiba tree, the sacred tree that the Maya believe connects the underworld, the earth, and the heavens. "You look troubled, child," he says, his voice raspy with age. "Is it the dreams again?" You nod, unsure how to explain that you're not who they think you are, that you've somehow been transported across time into this ancient world. "The gods choose certain people to receive their messages," he continues. "It is both a blessing and a burden. My grandmother was a day keeper, a keeper of the sacred calendar. She taught me to read the signs, to understand the cycles of time. Perhaps I can help you understand what the gods are trying to tell you." He reaches into a small pouch tied to his waist and pulls out a handful of red seeds, zeit beans, used for divination. He casts them on the ground between you, studying the pattern they make. "I see a great change coming," he murmurs. "The cycles of time are turning. The 13th Baktun approaches. You know enough about Maya timekeeping to understand what he's referring to. The Maya calendar system is incredibly complex, tracking multiple cycles simultaneously. A Baktun is a period of 144,000 days, nearly 400 years. The 13th Baktun won't actually end for another 1,050 years or so, around 2012 CE, but this man believes significant events are tied to these calendar transitions." "What does it mean?" you ask, your voice sounding strange to your own ears. "Change," he says simply. "All things must change. Kingdoms rise and fall. The rains come and go. The sun travels its path across the sky, dying each night and being reborn each morning. Nothing remains the same forever." He gathers his divination beans and returns them to his pouch. "The king's procession approaches. We must prepare." Indeed, you can hear distant drums and flutes. The villagers quickly finish their harvesting and gather at the edge of the fields. Everyone holds something as an offering: the best of their crops, hand-woven textiles, clay figures, or small jade ornaments for the wealthier members of the community. You stand with them, holding a small basket of the beans you've helped harvest. Your heart beats faster as the procession comes into view. First come the musicians, men playing wooden flutes, turtle shell drums, and rattles made from gourds. Then warriors with obsidian-edged clubs and spears, their bodies painted for battle. Behind them, carried on a litter borne by 8 strong men, is King Yikin Chan Karwil himself. The litter stops before your village. The king is an imposing figure, dressed in an elaborate headdress of quetzal feathers that cascade down his back like a waterfall of iridescent green. Jade and shell ornaments cover his chest and arms. His face is painted red, the colour of the east of the rising sun of life-giving blood. Gold plugs stretch his earlobes, and a nose-piece shaped like a serpent curves over his upper lip. The villagers prostrate themselves, touching their foreheads to the ground. You quickly follow suit, feeling the cool earth against your skin. You dare not look directly at the king. To do so would be a grave insult. "Rise," comes a commanding voice, not the king's, but his spokesman, a noble who stands beside the litter. The divine lord Yikin Chan Karwil, shield of the sun, captor of Arbolon Habta, 13th in the line of Jaguar kings, graces your village with his presence. Present your offerings. One by one, the villagers approach, heads bowed, and place their gifts before the litter. When your turn comes, your legs feel weak, your mouth dry. You place your basket of beans with the other offerings, careful to keep your eyes downcast. "These are fine beans," says the spokesman. "The gods will be pleased with such an offering. Perhaps they will send rain for the next planting." You back away, relieved to have completed your part without incident. The king never speaks. He doesn't need to. His divine presence is communication enough. After all offerings are presented, the procession continues toward the ceremonial center. The villagers watch until it disappears from view, then begin discussing the event in excited tones. "Did you see his headdress? The Quetzal feathers must have come from the highlands. His jade necklace was larger than any I've ever seen. They say he captured 3 kings in battle and sacrificed them himself at the Temple of the Jaguar." The conversations swirl around you as everyone returns to their tasks. The encounter with royalty has energized the village, giving them a story they'll retell for months to come. As the afternoon wears on, the heat becomes even more intense. The air is so thick with humidity that it feels like breathing through a wet cloth. You help with the final harvesting, your movements becoming slower as fatigue sets in. The older man who read the sight beans works nearby, moving with the deliberate pace of someone conserving energy. "Tonight there will be a feast," he tells you, "to celebrate the king's procession and to thank the gods for the harvest. There will be dancing and balshe." Balshe, you remember, is a mildly intoxicating drink made from fermented honey and the bark of the balshe tree. The Maya believe it helps them communicate with the gods. As the sun begins its descent toward the western horizon, the workers return to the village. Women are already preparing food for the feast, grinding more corn for tortillas, cooking beans and squash, preparing venison and turkey in underground pits lined with hot stones. You help where you can, your body moving on instinct while your mind tries to make sense of this immersive experience. The physical fatigue from a day of manual labor settles into your muscles, your eyelids feel heavy, your limbs pleasantly exhausted. The feast begins as darkness falls. Torches and small fires illuminate the central area of the village. The smell of cooked meat and corn fills the air. Children dart between adults, excited to be allowed to stay up late. Musicians play, their melodies hauntingly different from any music you've heard before, following tonal patterns that seem alien yet strangely moving. Food is shared communally. You sit cross-legged on a woven mat, accepting a wooden plate filled with venison, turkey, tortillas, beans and squash. The meat is tender and flavoured with achiote, giving it a distinctive red colour and earthy taste. Small bowls of fiery habanero sauce are passed around. Just a tiny amount adds intense heat to the food. Gourds of balche circulate. When one reaches you, you take a small sip. The taste is sweet and tangy, with an herbal bitterness from the bark. It warms your throat and stomach. Just this small amount creates a pleasant, floating sensation. As you eat and drink, you observe the community around you. Despite the hard work and often harsh conditions of their lives, there's joy here. Children laugh and play, adults share stories and jokes, elders are treated with respect, given the best portions of food and the most comfortable places to sit. After the meal, dancers perform in the centre of the gathering. Men wearing elaborate masks depicting animals and gods move in complex patterns. Women in huipils embroidered with symbols of fertility and abundance sway in graceful counterpoint. The music intensifies, the drums faster, the flutes higher. The older man who read the sight beans sits beside you again. "Do you understand what they're dancing?" he asks. You shake your head. "It's the story of creation," he explains, "how the gods made the world and all living things, how they tried 3 times to create humans, first from mud, then from wood, and finally from corn. Only the corn people, us, were successful. We could speak and move and properly honour the gods who made us." You recognise the story from your knowledge of the Popol Vuh, the sacred text of Maya creation myths that survived the Spanish conquest, but hearing it described by someone who truly believes it, who sees it not as mythology but as sacred truth, gives it a different resonance. "And now they dance the journey of the hero twins," he continues as new dancers take the centre space. Hunahpu and Exbalanque, who defeated the lords of Xibalba, the underworld, and became the sun and moon. The dancers move with incredible precision, their bodies telling the story without words. One dancer wears a jaguar pelt, representing one of the fearsome lords of the underworld. Others wear masks with death symbols, skulls and bones painted in stark black and white. As you watch, your eyelids grow heavier. The rhythmic movements, the hypnotic music, the effects of the balche, and the physical exhaustion from the day's labour all combine to create an almost trance-like state. Your breathing slows, deepens, your muscles relax further into the mat beneath you. The old man notices your drowsiness. "Rest now," he says gently. "Tomorrow we prepare for the ceremony at the temple. The king has requested a sacrifice to ensure good harvests and victory in battle." This jolts you momentarily more alert. Sacrifice? Will it be an animal or a human? You want to ask, but your tongue feels heavy, your thoughts clouded with fatigue. "Sleep," the old man says, helping you to your feet. "The gods will speak to you in dreams again, perhaps with more clarity this time." He leads you back to the small limestone house where you awoke this morning. Ixchel is there, preparing the sleeping area. She helps you lie down on the reed mat, placing a small bundle of cloth under your head as a pillow. The copal incense burns again, its sweet smoke creating spiralling patterns in the dim light. "Rest well," she says, her voice already seeming to come from far away as sleep begins to claim you. "Tomorrow brings new challenges, new blessings." As you drift towards sleep, your awareness of this ancient Maya world begins to blur around the edges. The sounds of the continuing celebration outside fade. The feel of the reed mat beneath you softens. The last thing you notice before sleep takes you completely is the weight of the jade pendant against your chest, cool and solid, anchoring you to this time and place that isn't your own. Your breathing deepens, your muscles relax completely, your consciousness begins to float, untethered. Perhaps in dreams the gods will indeed speak to you, helping you understand why you've been brought to this ancient world and what you're meant to learn here. And as you slip into dreams, a question forms in your mind. Will you wake tomorrow still in the world of the ancient Maya, or will your consciousness return to your own time? Only the gods know for certain. For now, you surrender to sleep, to the rhythm of your own breathing, to the distant sounds of flutes and drums celebrating the eternal dance of life, death, and rebirth that lies at the heart of Maya belief. The night wraps around you like a warm embrace, holding you securely as your mind drifts further into darkness. Sleep comes, deep and complete, and in that sleep perhaps answers await. You wake to the sound of a conch shell trumpet echoing across the village. The haunting, resonant tone vibrates through the walls of your small limestone house, pulling you from the depths of sleep. For a moment, you're disoriented, expecting to see your familiar bedroom. Instead, the same packed earth floor and thatched roof of yesterday greet your opening eyes. You're still here, still in the ancient Maya world. Dawn light filters through the doorway, painting the interior walls with a soft golden glow. Your body feels different. Muscles sore from yesterday's fieldwork, skin sticky from the humidity. The reed mat beneath you has left faint impressions on your arms and legs. You run your fingers over these temporary marks, marvelling at how present you feel in this physical form. Ixchel is already up, kneeling by the hearth fire where she's preparing the morning meal. The 3 stones of the hearth form a triangle, representing the 3 stones the gods placed to create the world, according to Maya belief. The smoke rises through a small opening in the roof, creating shifting patterns against the morning light. "You slept deeply," she says, not looking up from the corn dough she's patting into tortillas. No cries or strange words in the night. Perhaps the gods have finished speaking to you for now? You sit up slowly, each movement deliberate as your stiff muscles adjust. The jade pendant still hangs around your neck, cool against your skin despite the growing warmth of the day. Outside, the village is coming alive, the rhythmic sound of corn being ground on stone metates, chickens clucking, children calling to one another. Today we go to the ceremonial centre, Ixchel continues. The king has called for special offerings. It is a great honour for our village to participate. She hands you a gourd of water. It's slightly warm and tastes faintly of minerals from the cenote where it was collected. You drink deeply, feeling the liquid spread through your body, bringing relief to your parched throat. The morning meal is similar to yesterday's. Corn tortillas, this time served with a paste made from squash seeds and chili. The flavours are intense, nutty, spicy, complex. You eat slowly, savouring each bite, noticing how different this is from the rushed breakfasts of your modern life. Here, food is sacred, grown with care, prepared with intention, eaten with gratitude. As you eat, children peer curiously through the doorway. Their small brown bodies are naked or clothed in simple tunics. Their black hair, cut straight across the forehead in the Maya style, frames wide eyes that study you with unabashed interest. When you smile at them, they giggle and duck away, only to return moments later for another look. After the meal, Ixchel helps you prepare for the journey to the ceremonial centre. She brings a clean huipil, more elaborately embroidered than the one you wore yesterday. This one features geometric patterns in vibrant blue and red, with symbols you recognise as glyphs for water and maize. She also brings a small pot of red ochre, which she uses to paint simple designs on your cheeks, marks of status and belonging. The walk is long, she explains as she works. We must pass through the forest and cross the river before reaching the sacred city. The old ones and children will ride in litters, but you and I will walk. Outside, the village is busy with preparations. People carry baskets of food, rolls of woven fabric, and clay figures to present as offerings. Some wear their finest clothing, adorned with whatever small luxuries they possess. A feather here, a shell necklace there. Everyone brings something, no matter how humble. The old man who read the sight beans for you yesterday approaches. Today he wears a headdress of simple cotton cloth wrapped around his head, marking him as someone of special status, perhaps a minor priest or shaman. Ah, the dreamer awakens, he says, his cloudy eyes somehow finding yours despite his partial blindness. Did the gods visit you in the night? You shake your head. I don't remember any dreams. He nods thoughtfully. Sometimes silence is an answer too. The gods speak in many ways, through dreams, through the patterns of thrown seeds, through the flight of birds. We must learn to listen with more than our ears. He introduces himself properly now. Kienich, named after the sun god. He tells you he serves as the village's daykeeper, tracking the sacred calendar and advising on auspicious days for planting, harvesting, and ceremonies. Today is a good day for offerings, he says. 7 Manik in the Tzolkin count, a day of balance, when the veil between our world and the world of the gods grows thin. Come, walk with me. I will tell you of the city we are about to visit. The village forms a procession, with the youngest, children and eldest members riding in simple litters carried by strong young men. Everyone else walks, carrying their offerings. You and Kainich fall into step somewhere in the middle, your feet finding a comfortable rhythm on the well-worn path. As you walk, Kienich explains that the ceremonial centre you're visiting is one of several cities under Tikal's control. The Maya world isn't a unified empire, but rather a collection of city-states, sometimes allies, sometimes bitter enemies. Wars are frequent, with captured rulers often sacrificed in elaborate public ceremonies. The city we visit today is called Uakshaktun, he says. It was once a rival to Tikal, but now serves our great king. Its temples are aligned with the stars, marking the solstices and equinoxes. The priests there are wise in the ways of time and the heavens. The path takes you through dense jungle. Massive sabre trees tower overhead, their trunks buttressed with flaring roots that create natural alcoves where small offerings of copal incense and food have been placed. Brightly coloured birds call from the canopy. toucans with their enormous bills, scarlet macaws flashing like flames through the green leaves. Howler monkeys roar in the distance, their calls carrying for miles through the humid air. The jungle embraces you, wrapping you in its green arms. The air is thick with moisture and the rich scent of decay and growth, that distinctive smell of the rainforest where everything is constantly dying and being reborn. Your skin becomes slick with sweat, but the tree canopy provides welcome shade from the direct sun. Keenich points out useful plants as you walk: the sapodilla tree, whose sap provides chewing gum, the copal tree, whose resin is burned as incense, medicinal herbs used to treat fevers and wounds. The Maya don't see the jungle as wilderness to be conquered, but as a garden to be tended and harvested. Every plant has a purpose, a story, a spirit. Before the first fathers created humans, Keenich tells you, they made the animals and trees. They gave each one a voice and asked them to speak their names and give praise to their creators. But the animals could only squawk and howl and roar. They couldn't speak properly or remember their creators. So the gods decided to make a new being who could speak and remember and give proper worship. You recognize this as part of the creation story from the Popol Vuh. Though this sacred text won't be written down for centuries yet, the oral tradition already contains these ancient beliefs. After about an hour of walking, the path opens onto the bank of a river, broad and slow-moving, its surface reflecting the brilliant blue sky above. Simple wooden canoes wait to ferry the villagers across. You help load the offerings and then climb carefully into one of the dugouts, finding your balance as it rocks beneath you. The canoe glides silently across the water, propelled by a young man with a long wooden pole. Fish dart beneath the surface, quick flashes of silver against the river's sandy bottom. Water lilies float in the shallows, their white flowers open to the morning sun. A caiman watches from the opposite bank, only its eyes and the ridge of its back visible above the water. Once across, the procession reforms and continues through more jungle. The terrain begins to rise gently. Through breaks in the trees, you catch glimpses of stone structures ahead, the white limestone dazzling in the sunlight. Your heart beats faster with anticipation. Finally, the trees thin, and you step out onto a cleared plaza paved with white stone. The sight before you takes your breath away. Pyramids rise against the sky, their stepped sides climbing toward heaven. Temples crown their summits, their roof combs elaborately carved with images of gods and rulers. Long buildings flank the plaza, palaces for the nobility and priests. Stelae, tall stone monuments carved with images and hieroglyphs, stand at regular intervals recording the deeds of kings and important celestial events. The ceremonial centre is alive with activity. Hundreds of people from surrounding villages have gathered, bringing offerings similar to your own. Priests in elaborate costumes direct the proceedings, their headdresses of quetzal feathers and jaguar pelts marking their high status. Warriors stand guard, their bodies painted for battle, obsidian-edged weapons gleaming in the sun. Keenich leads you across the plaza toward the largest pyramid. The limestone paving stones feel hot through your sandals. The open space offers no shade, and the heat is intense after the relative cool of the jungle. Sweat trickles down your back and between your shoulder blades. Your breath comes faster as you take in the overwhelming scale and beauty of the architecture. The temple at the top honours Chak, the rain god, Keenich explains. In this dry season, we must please him, so he will bring water for our crops. At the base of the pyramid, people leave their offerings on large stone altars. You watch as Ixchel carefully places the woven textile she carried all this way, smoothing it with reverent hands. Others leave food, incense, jade beads, or figurines of the gods. Nothing is too humble to be offered. Even a perfect flower or unusual stone might please the deities. When it's your turn, you step forward with the small clay figure you've been carrying, a representation of Chak with his distinctive long nose and axe. You place it carefully among the other offerings, feeling a strange sense of connection to this ancient practice. Though the beliefs aren't your own, there's something deeply human about the act of giving, of acknowledging forces greater than yourself. After all offerings are presented, a hush falls over the gathered crowd. From the top of the pyramid, a priest appears. His face is painted blue, the colour of water, of life. His headdress resembles the head of Chak, with the god's characteristic long downturned nose. He raises his arms to the sky and begins to chant in a sing-song voice that carries across the plaza. Though you can't understand all the words, you recognize invocations to Chak, asking for rain, for life-giving water to nourish the crops. The crowd responds at intervals with a word you recognize, Lakin. So be it. As the chanting continues, your attention is drawn to movement at the side of the plaza. Warriors are leading a group of bound men, their bodies painted black, their expressions resigned. With a chill, you realize these are captives taken in recent battles with neighboring cities. They will be the sacrifices to Chak. You look at Keenich, uncertain how to react. His weathered face shows no surprise or distress. This is simply the way of his world, necessary for the continuation of life. Without blood, there is no rain, he says simply, noticing your discomfort. The gods gave their blood to create humans. Now humans must return the gift. Before the captives can be led up the pyramid steps, however, something unexpected happens. King Yikin Chankawil himself arrives at the plaza, carried on his elaborate litter. The crowd immediately prostrates themselves, touching foreheads to the stone pavement. You quickly follow suit, feeling the hot stone against your skin. The king speaks, a rare occurrence that sends a ripple of excitement through the crowd. His voice is strong and clear, carrying the authority of divine right. Today we honour Chak not with the blood of enemies, but with the blood of kings, he announces. I, Shield of the Sun, will give my sacred blood so that our people may prosper. A murmur of awe passes through the crowd. For a king to offer his own royal blood is a sacrifice of the highest order. The captives are led away, spared for now, though likely to meet their fate at another ceremony. The king is carried to the base of the pyramid. There, attendants help him from his litter and remove his elaborate headdress and much of his jewellery. Though stripped of these symbols of office, his bearing remains regal, his presence commanding. Priests approach with obsidian blades and stingray spines. The king extends his tongue, and in a swift motion that makes you wince, a priest draws the spine through it. Bright red blood flows immediately, collected on strips of white bark paper. The king shows no pain, his face impassive, as his precious blood, carrying the essence of the gods who flow through his royal veins, is gathered for the offering. Next, the priest hands the king a thorn-studded cord. With practiced movements, the king draws this through his foreskin, adding more blood to the paper. This self-mutilation is performed with dignity, as a sacred duty rather than a punishment. The bloodied paper is placed in a ceramic vessel and carried reverently up the pyramid steps to be burned before the image of Chak. The smoke will carry the essence of royal blood to the heavens, feeding the rain god and ensuring his favour. As this solemn ritual concludes, the atmosphere shifts. Musicians begin to play, drums, rattles, flutes and turtle shell instruments creating complex rhythms. Dancers appear, their movements telling the story of Chak bringing rain to a parched world. Their costumes feature blue and green feathers, jade beads and shell ornaments that catch the light as they move. The tension of the blood ritual gives way to celebration. The king returns to his litter and is carried to a shaded area where he can observe the festivities. The crowd relaxes, people beginning to talk among themselves, children darting between adults in improvised games. Food and drink are shared. You're offered a gourd of balche, which you sip cautiously. The sweet, fermented liquid creates a pleasant warmth in your stomach, a slight buzzing in your fingertips. Ixchel appears with corn tamales wrapped in leaves, the steam releasing the aroma of corn and spices as you unwrap them. As you eat and watch the dancers, Kinich introduces you to people from other villages, farmers like yourself, but also specialised craftspeople, a potter whose black ceramic vessels are sought after throughout the region, a weaver whose intricate textiles incorporate complex symbols representing the cosmos, a jade carver who transforms the precious stone into representations of the gods. From these conversations, you begin to understand the complexity of Maya society. This isn't a simple agricultural community, but a sophisticated civilization with specialized labor, long-distance trade networks, and complex political alliances. The farmers in your village depend on these craftspeople for tools and luxury items, while the craftspeople depend on farmers for food. Everyone depends on the king and priests to maintain proper relations with the gods, ensuring cosmic balance and earthly prosperity. The celebration continues throughout the afternoon. You find yourself drawn to the stelae, the carved stone monuments that record royal history and astronomical events. Though you can't read the hieroglyphs that cover their surfaces, you recognize images of rulers standing over defeated enemies, elaborate dates marking celestial alignments, and representations of the gods receiving offerings. Kinich notices your interest. These stones tell the story of our kings, he explains, how they rose to power, their great victories, their connections to the gods. They also mark the passage of time, the movement of stars, the completion of calendar cycles. He points to one stela featuring a particularly elaborate carving of a king in full regalia. This records the end of the last Katun, a period of 20 tons or about 20 of your solar years. At such completions, new fire is drilled, old ceramic vessels are broken, and the king performs special rituals to ensure the successful transition to the new cycle. Time, you realize, is understood differently here. For the Maya, it isn't a straight line moving eternally forward, but a series of embedded cycles, days within months, within years, within larger periods, all turning like interlocking gears. The past isn't dead, but continues to influence the present, just as present actions shape the future. Gods who created the world in mythic time are still present, still requiring acknowledgement and offerings. As the sun begins its descent toward the western horizon, the crowd thins. Many have long journeys back to their villages and must leave before darkness falls. Your own group gathers near the edge of the plaza, preparing for the return walk. But before you depart, Kinich leads you to one final structure, not a towering pyramid, but a low building with multiple doorways. Inside, you're surprised to find what appears to be a school. Young men, sons of nobles and priests, sit cross-legged on mats, practicing writing on bark paper. Their teachers, older men with the bearing of scholars, correct their work and demonstrate proper technique. Here the sons of noble houses learn the sacred knowledge, Kinich explains, how to read and write the glyphs, how to calculate calendar dates, how to track the movements of stars and planets. This knowledge is power. It connects us to the gods and ancestors. You watch as a young scribe carefully forms hieroglyphs with a brush made from animal hair. The symbols are both artistic and precise, some representing whole words, others syllables that can be combined to write any sound in the Maya language. The system is incredibly sophisticated, capable of recording not just factual information, but poetry, religious concepts, and historical narratives. Few are chosen for this honour, Kinich continues. Most will never learn these skills, but those who do become the keepers of our history, the calculators of time, the predictors of eclipses and planetary movements. As you watch the young scribes at work, you're struck by the contrast between this intellectual pursuit and the blood ritual you witnessed earlier. The Maya world contains both profound mathematical understanding alongside religious practices that seem brutal by modern standards. This civilization cannot be easily categorized as primitive or advanced. It is both and neither, following its own internal logic. The journey back to your village is quieter than the morning's procession. People are tired from the day's events, the long walks, the emotional intensity of the ceremonies. The jungle seems different in the late afternoon light. Shadows longer, bird calls fewer, the air cooling slightly as evening approaches. Your own body feels heavy with fatigue. Your feet ache from walking on stone and dirt paths. Your mind is full of the day's experiences, the blood ritual, the dancers, the scribes practicing their art. You try to make sense of this world that is both familiar and utterly foreign. Crossing the river again as sunset approaches, you watch fish jumping for insects, skimming the water's surface. Each circular ripple spreads outward, intersecting with others to create complex patterns, like time in the Maya worldview. Cycles within cycles, patterns emerging from the intersection of different periods. By the time you reach your village, twilight has descended. Cooking fires glow orange against the deepening blue of evening. The smell of corn and beans welcomes you home. Children run to greet the returning procession, eager to hear about the ceremonies and celebrations. In your small limestone house, Ixchel lights the copal incense and prepares a simple evening meal. The physical and emotional exertion of the day has left you profoundly tired. Your limbs feel heavy, your eyelids struggling to stay open. After eating just enough to satisfy your hunger, you sink onto your reed mat, your body seeming to melt into its surface. Kinich visits briefly, bringing a small jade bead, a token from the ceremonial center. Place this under your tongue as you sleep, he instructs. It may help the gods speak more clearly in your dreams. The smooth stone feels cool under your tongue. Around you, the village settles into night rhythms, soft conversations, a distant flute playing a melancholy tune, the constant background chorus of insects and frogs from the surrounding jungle. Through the doorway, you can see stars appearing in the darkening sky, the same stars the Maya priests study so carefully, tracking their movements across the seasons. Your awareness begins to drift, your thoughts becoming less coherent as sleep approaches. The events of the day replay in fragments, the king's blood dripping onto white paper, dancers swirling in feathered costumes, young scribes forming precise glyphs with careful brushstrokes. Behind these images lies a question. Why are you here, in this time and place so far from your own? Is there something you're meant to learn, something you're meant to witness? The jade bead under your tongue seems to grow warmer, spreading a pleasant tingling sensation through your body. Your muscles relax completely, surrendering to the profound fatigue of the day's journey. Your breathing deepens, slows, finds a rhythm as ancient as humanity itself. As consciousness slips away, you have the strange sensation of floating above your sleeping body, seeing yourself lying on the reed mat in the simple Maya house. But then your perspective shifts again, expanding outward, seeing the village, the ceremonial center, the entire Maya world spread below you like a living map. And beyond that, you sense the turning of time itself, the great cycles the Maya track so carefully, wheels within wheels marking the passage of days, years, centuries. In this expanded awareness, just before sleep claims you completely, you have a fleeting impression of drought, of failing crops, of cities abandoned to the encroaching jungle, a sense of ending, but also of continuation, of transformation rather than true death. Then even this fades, as you sink into the deep healing embrace of sleep. Tomorrow, perhaps, more will be revealed. For now, rest comes like a blessing from the gods themselves, carrying you into dreams where past, present, and future merge into a single, eternal moment. You awaken to a different sensation this time, pain. Your head throbs with each heartbeat, your mouth feels dry as sun-baked clay, and your stomach churns uneasily. Opening your eyes requires effort, the morning light stabbing through your skull like obsidian blades. The jade bead Kinich gave you is still under your tongue, and you carefully remove it, placing it beside your sleeping mat. The inside of your limestone house is empty. Ixchel must have risen early and left you to sleep. From outside come the usual morning sounds of the village. Grinding stone against stone as women prepare corn, children's voices, roosters announcing the day long after dawn has actually arrived. But today these familiar sounds grate against your senses, each one intensifying the pounding in your head. You sit up slowly, waiting for the spinning sensation to subside. Your body aches in unfamiliar ways, muscles unaccustomed to yesterday's long walk protesting their harsh treatment. With careful movements you make your way to the doorway and push aside the fabric covering. The sunlight is blinding at first. You shield your eyes, allowing them to adjust gradually. The village looks the same as it did yesterday, yet somehow different. The colours seem more vivid, the sounds more distinct, the smells more intense. It's as if the jade bead has heightened your senses, making everything around you more immediate, more present. Ixchel approaches, carrying a clay pot. Her expression shifts from neutral to concerned when she sees your face. "The dreams came strongly last night," she says, not asking but stating what seems obvious to her. "Your spirit travelled far while your body rested." She guides you back inside and helps you sit on a small wooden stool. From the clay pot, she pours a thick, dark liquid into a gourd cup and hands it to you. "Drink," she instructs. "It will ease the pain and clear your thoughts." The liquid smells bitter and earthy. You hesitate, then take a small sip. The taste is as unpleasant as the smell, like wet soil mixed with something astringent, but you force yourself to drink it all. Almost immediately, a cooling sensation spreads from your stomach outward, gradually easing the pounding in your head. "Bark of the sacred ceiba tree," Ixchel explains, "with leaves of wild tobacco and seeds of the morning glory. A medicine for those who have walked too far in the spirit world." As the pain recedes, memories of strange dreams surface, visions of drought, of starving children, of empty plazas once filled with people, of jungle reclaiming abandoned temples, but also flashes of knowledge, as if the history of the Maya world had been poured directly into your mind while you slept. Calendar systems, trade routes, political alliances, agricultural techniques. "I saw," you begin, but struggle to find words for the complex images that filled your dreams. Ixchel nods. "The gods speak in riddles and fragments. It is not for us to understand everything they show us. Kinich will help you make sense of the visions." She brings you a simple breakfast, a corn gruel sweetened with honey, and watches as you eat. The food settles your stomach and the medicine continues to work, bringing clarity to your thoughts. By the time you finish eating, you feel almost normal again, though with a lingering sensitivity to light and sound. "Today is market day," Ixchel tells you. "We will go to the local trading centre. It is smaller than the great markets of Tikal, but traders come from many villages to exchange goods. Perhaps the activity will help ground your spirit back in this world." She helps you dress in clean clothing. Another hui pill, this one with simpler embroidery than yesterday's ceremonial garment. Your hair is braided and wrapped with a cotton cloth. Around your neck, the jade pendant remains, a constant reminder of your special status in this community. As you leave your house, Kinich joins you. He carries a walking stick carved with symbols of the gods, and a small bag that clinks softly with each step, probably containing items to trade. "Your eyes are different today," he observes. "You have seen beyond the veil." "I had strange dreams," you admit. "Visions of..." You hesitate, uncertain how to describe the apocalyptic images of abandoned cities and failed crops. Kinich nods. The jade bead opens pathways between worlds. What you saw may be echoes of the past, glimpses of possible futures, or messages from the gods. As we walk to the market, tell me what you remember. The path to the trading centre leads through the milpa fields. Young corn plants stand in neat rows, interspersed with climbing bean vines and spreading squash plants. Farmers work among the crops, using stone tools to remove weeds and check for pests. They acknowledge Kinich with respectful nods as you pass. As you walk, you describe fragments of your dreams, the drought, the hunger, the abandoned cities. Kinich listens without interrupting, his weathered face giving nothing away. Only when you finish does he speak. Such visions have come to others in recent years, he says quietly. The daykeepers in many villages report similar dreams. Some believe they foretell a time of great challenge for our people. Do you think they will come true, you ask, a chill running through you despite the warm morning. Kinich gestures to the fields around you. Look at these milpas. For generations we have planted and harvested here. Our ancestors taught us to work with the cycles of rain and drought, to allow fields to rest and recover, to plant diverse crops that support each other. But as our numbers grow, we must clear more land, plant more intensively, harvest more frequently. The balance shifts. He pauses, watching a flock of brilliant green parrots fly overhead. The gods gave us this world in perfect balance. If that balance is disturbed, consequences follow. This is the law of creation. His words settle heavily between you as you continue walking. After passing through the cultivated fields, the path enters a section of secondary forest. Younger trees and denser undergrowth indicating this area was once cleared but has been allowed to regrow. Even here, though, you notice the forest is not truly wild. Useful trees have been encouraged. Ramon with its nutritious nuts, sapodilla with its valuable sap, cacao with its precious beans. The Maya don't just farm fields, they farm the forest itself. After about an hour's walk, sounds of human activity reach you. Voices calling, children laughing, the rhythmic sound of stone against stone. The path widens, joining others to form a small road leading to the trading centre. Unlike the ceremonial centre you visited yesterday, this place has no grand pyramids or elaborate temples. Instead, it's a large plaza, surrounded by simple wooden structures with thatched roofs, permanent stalls for regular traders. In the centre of the plaza, temporary stands and mats display goods from more occasional visitors. The ground is packed dirt rather than paved stone, and there are no carved stelae recording royal histories. This is a place of commerce, not ceremony. Yet the energy here is infectious. Hundreds of people move through the market. Farmers with surplus crops, craftspeople with their wares, traders who travel between distant cities exchanging luxury goods. The air is filled with the smells of cooking food, fresh fruits, and curing hides. Colours abound. The vibrant reds and yellows of tropical fruits, the rich browns and blacks of ceramic vessels, the whites and creams of cotton textiles, the glint of jade and obsidian catching the sunlight. Ixchel leads you to a section where women sell textiles. She greets the other weavers warmly, displaying the cloths she's brought to trade. Her work is admired, the tight weave, the even dyeing, the precise patterns. After much animated discussion and good-natured haggling, she trades 2 of her textiles for several measures of salt, some dried fish, and a small pot of red dye made from cochineal insects. Kinich, meanwhile, has moved to an area where medicinal herbs and ritual items are sold. You follow, fascinated by the variety, bundles of dried plants, seeds and nuts in woven containers, resins and incense, carved wooden implements for spiritual practices. Kinich trades some items from his bag, small jade beads similar to the one he gave you, for rare herbs that apparently don't grow in your local area. As you wander the market, you're struck by the variety of goods available. Despite having no draft animals or wheeled vehicles, the Maya have created extensive trade networks. Here in this modest regional market, you find obsidian blades from the highlands of Guatemala, their edges sharper than any metal, salt from the coastal regions, essential for preserving food and maintaining health. Cacao beans from specialized growing regions, used both as currency and to make the elite's favored drink. Jade in various forms, raw, polished, carved, its green color symbolizing water, life, and royal power. Exotic feathers from tropical birds used in ceremonial costumes and high-status clothing. Pottery from specialized production centers, some functional, some purely decorative. Honey collected from both wild and cultivated bees used as a sweetener and in fermented drinks. Copal resin for incense, rubber for the balls used in the ceremonial ball game, medicinal herbs from diverse ecological zones. All this moves through the Maya world without horses, donkeys, or oxen, carried on human backs, transported in canoes along rivers, passed from community to community through regional markets like this one. In one corner of the plaza, you notice a group of men engaged in what appears to be a more formalized exchange. They consult painted bark paper books, make calculations using cacao beans as counters, and engage in intense negotiations. Kinich explains these are professional merchants, poshteka, who coordinate long-distance trade between major cities. They belong to a specialized class with their own patron deities and ritual practices. Some travel as far as Teotihuacan in the central Mexican highlands, hundreds of miles away. In the great cities, Kinich tells you, the markets are many times this size. There you might find turquoise from the northern deserts, gold from the southern mountains, shells from both oceans, and exotic goods from lands so distant that even the Pochteka rarely visit them. Near the center of the plaza, food vendors have set up cooking stations. The smell of roasting meat, simmering beans, and fresh tortillas makes your stomach growl despite the large breakfast. Ixchel uses some of her newly acquired salt to purchase a meal for the three of you. Turkey, meat, seasoned with achiote and local herbs, served with tortillas and a fiery habanero sauce. You find a shady spot at the edge of the plaza to eat. The market activity continues around you, a living organism of human interaction, the lifeblood of the Maya economy flowing through this regional center just as it flows through larger cities and smaller villages, connecting the entire civilization. As you eat, you notice a group of individuals who stand out from the farmers and crafters. Their elaborate jade jewelry, intricately patterned clothing, and confident bearing mark them as nobility from one of the larger cities. Warriors accompany them, not actively threatening anyone but clearly present as protection. Common people give them space, lowering their eyes as the nobles pass. One of the nobles, a young man wearing a jaguar skin draped over his shoulders, stops near your group. He studies you with open curiosity, his gaze lingering on the jade pendant around your neck. Without addressing you directly, he speaks to Kinich. "Your village has been blessed with a visitor from afar," he says, his dialect slightly different from the Maya spoken in your community. "The gods must favor you." Kinich rises and bows his head respectfully. "We are honored by their attention, Lord, as we are honored by yours." The young noble smiles, revealing jade inlays in his front teeth, a painful cosmetic modification that only the elite can afford. "I am Balamkuk, son of the governor of Uakshaktun. My father serves the divine lord of Tikal. Our cities have enjoyed peace and prosperity under his rule." "May it continue for many Katuns to come," Kinich responds. Balamkuk glances at you again. The visitor has unusual features. From which city do they come? Before Kinich can answer, another noble calls to Balamkuk from across the plaza. With a final curious look, the young lord moves on, rejoining his companions. "Be cautious around the nobility," Kinich murmurs once Balamkuk is out of earshot. "Their world is filled with intrigue and power struggles. What seems like casual interest may have deeper purpose." "Who was he really?" you ask. "The son of a regional governor," as he said, but the politics between cities is complex. Uaxactun was once independent, a rival to Tikal. Now it serves as a secondary centre under Tikal's control. Some families remember their former glory and chafe under Tikal's rule. Others benefit from the connection and seek to strengthen it. I do not know where Balamkuk's family stands in these matters. This glimpse into Maya geopolitics reminds you that beneath the apparent unity of shared culture, language, and religion lies a fragmented political landscape of competing city-states. The stability of the system depends on the dominance of powerful centres like Tikal, enforced through both military might and strategic alliances. If that dominance were to falter, your thoughts return to the troubling visions from your dreams. Abandoned cities, failed crops. Could political instability contribute to such a collapse? The pieces begin to fit together in your mind, forming a picture of a civilization facing multiple interconnected challenges. After finishing your meal, you continue exploring the market. Ixchel completes her trading, acquiring items needed back in the village, new pots to replace broken ones, obsidian blades for tools, special herbs for medicine, cotton for weaving. The practical business of daily life continues, regardless of politics or cosmic cycles. As the afternoon progresses, you notice the sky darkening to the west. Towering clouds build on the horizon, massive anvil-shaped formations that rise miles into the atmosphere. Lightning flickers within their depths, though the thunder is still too distant to hear. The first rains approach, Kinich observes, following your gaze. Earlier than expected this year, Chak has heard our prayers. The market activity intensifies as people rush to complete their trading before the storm arrives. Within an hour, the plaza begins to empty, traders packing their goods and heading toward home. Your small group joins the exodus, Ixchel carefully stowing her acquired items in a back basket supported by a tump line across her forehead, the standard Maya method for carrying heavy loads. The walk back to the village takes on new urgency as the storm clouds approach. The wind picks up, bending the tops of the tall trees and sending ripples through the cornfields. Birds fall silent, seeking shelter before the deluge. The air feels charged, electric with anticipation. You're still about halfway back to the village when the first large raindrops begin to fall, sporadic at first, then quickly increasing in intensity. Within minutes, water pours from the sky in sheets, drenching you completely. The path turns muddy beneath your feet, making each step treacherous. Kinich leads you to a small structure beside the path, a simple roof supported by 4 posts built specifically as a rain shelter for travellers. Several other people have already taken refuge here, making space as your group arrives. The thatched roof provides protection from the worst of the downpour, though wind-blown rain still reaches you. The temperature has dropped noticeably, and you find yourself shivering in your wet clothing. Around you, the landscape has transformed, visibility reduced to just a few yards. The familiar path now a flowing stream of muddy water, the cultivated fields temporarily returned to swamp. The first rain of the season is always the strongest, an old woman sharing the shelter tells you. Chak announces his return with thunder and lightning to remind us of his power. Indeed, lightning flashes regularly now, followed by crashes of thunder so loud you feel them in your chest. Despite the discomfort of being wet and cold, there's something exhilarating about the storm's raw energy. This is what sustains life in the Maya world. The water that nourishes crops, fills cenotes, and allows civilization to flourish in what would otherwise be an inhospitable jungle. For nearly an hour, you wait as the storm rages. Conversation is difficult over the sound of rain hammering the roof, so you pass the time in silent contemplation. Your mind returns to the market, to the complex web of trade and social connections that binds the Maya world together. You think of Balamkuk and the political tensions beneath the surface of Maya society, and you remember your troubling dreams of drought and abandonment, a future that seems impossible to reconcile with the overwhelming abundance of water currently pouring from the sky. Finally, the downpour eases to a steady rain. Keenich decides it's time to continue homeward. The path is now muddy and slick, requiring careful attention to each step. Water drips from leaves and branches, occasionally finding its way down the back of your neck. Your sandaled feet are caked with mud, each step making a satisfying squelching sound. The jungle smells different after rain, earthy, fresh, alive. Birds gradually resume their calls, and insects emerge from shelter. Frogs that were invisible during the dry weather suddenly appear everywhere, their chorus adding to the post-storm symphony. Small streams that were merely damp depressions this morning now flow vigorously, requiring careful crossings on slippery log bridges. By the time you reach the village, the rain has stopped completely, though dark clouds still dominate the sky. The landscape glistens, every leaf and blade of grass adorned with droplets that catch the occasional breakthrough of sunlight. The air feels cleansed, the dust settled, the world renewed. Children play in the muddy open areas, their bodies slick with clay, their laughter carrying across the village. Adults inspect thatched roofs for leaks, sweep water from limestone floors, and generally address the minor disruptions caused by the season's first major storm. There's an atmosphere of celebration. The rains have arrived, ensuring another cycle of growth and harvest. At your house, Ixchel helps you remove your sodden clothing and provides a dry hui pill. The wet garments are hung on a line to dry during the next sunny day. She then builds up the hearth fire to ward off the unusual chill brought by the storm. The flames create dancing patterns of light and shadow on the limestone walls, a comforting counterpoint to the grey twilight outside. A simple dinner is prepared, leftover beans reheated with fresh herbs, tortillas warmed on the comal, and some of the dried fish acquired at the market reconstituted in a spicy broth. The hot food restores warmth to your body, and the familiar flavours bring comfort after the long, eventful day. As night falls, Keenich visits again. He brings a small clay pot of balche and 3 gourd cups. To celebrate the return of the rains, he explains, pouring the fermented honey drink and passing cups to you and Ixchel. The 3 of you sit near the fire, sipping the sweet, slightly alcoholic beverage. Outside, the night creatures begin their chorus, frogs, insects, and nocturnal birds creating a living soundscape that surrounds the village. Occasionally, distant lightning illuminates the doorway, followed several seconds later by the rumble of thunder, the storm continuing its journey across the Maya lands. The market, the rain, it has been a significant day, Keenich observes, but I sense the visions from your dreams still trouble you. You nod, watching the firelight reflect in your cup of balche. I saw cities abandoned to the jungle, people starving, great drought. If the rains have returned as normal, why would such things happen? Keenich is silent for a long moment, staring into the fire. When he speaks, his voice is lower, meant only for your ears and Ixchel's. The cycles of time bring different qualities to each period. Some cartoons bring abundance, others hardship. The priests and astronomers study the heavens, seeking patterns that might warn of difficult times ahead. Some believe we are approaching such a period. He sighs, the sound almost lost beneath the chorus of frogs outside. But these are matters for kings and high priests, not for farmers like us. Our duty is to tend the milpa, make our offerings, and trust in the wisdom of those who rule. His words don't entirely satisfy you, but you recognize the practical philosophy behind them. In the Maya world, as in your own time, most people focus on immediate concerns: growing food, raising children, maintaining their homes. The larger cycles of civilization rise and fall beyond their direct influence. As the evening progresses, the balche relaxes your muscles and slows your thoughts. The combination of physical exertion, emotional intensity, and now mild intoxication leaves you profoundly tired. Your eyelids grow heavy, your head nodding occasionally as you struggle to stay awake. Ixchel notices your fatigue. Sleep now, she says gently. Your body and spirit need rest. You don't resist as she guides you to your sleeping mat. The reed surface feels especially welcoming tonight, your body sinking gratefully into its familiar texture. The jade pendant is removed from your neck and placed carefully beside the mat. Nearby, copal incense releases its sweet smoke, helping to ward off the mosquitoes that have emerged in force after the rain. Kinich says something to Ixchel in a low voice. She nods and retrieves a small pottery jar, removing its clay stopper. From it, she takes a finger of dark, sticky substance and draws a symbol on your forehead. Protection for your dream journeys, she explains. Rest without fear tonight, Kinich tells you. The symbol will guard your spirit as you sleep. The balche, the rhythmic sound of rain beginning to fall again outside, the warm glow of the fire, the sweet scent of copal, all combine to create a profound sense of peace and security. Despite the troubling visions of yesterday's dreams, you feel safe in this moment, held in the embrace of this ancient community. Your awareness begins to drift, your thoughts becoming less coherent. The voices of Kinich and Ixchel fade as they continue their quiet conversation near the fire. The world narrows to the sensations of your body, the comfortable weight of the cotton blanket, the slight roughness of the reed mat against your skin, the gentle rise and fall of your chest with each breath. As sleep approaches, you have a fleeting thought. Perhaps tomorrow will bring more answers, more pieces of the puzzle that is the Maya world. Perhaps you'll understand why you've been brought here, what you're meant to learn, or perhaps you'll simply continue to experience this civilization as it was lived day by day, in the fields and forests, markets and temples, the ordinary and the sacred interwoven in every aspect of life. The thought dissolves as consciousness fades. Sleep claims you completely, drawing you down into its dark, healing depths. Your breathing deepens, your body fully relaxes, and your mind surrenders to the mystery of dreams. Time passes differently in dreams. When you open your eyes, you're still in the same limestone house with its packed earth floor and thatched roof, but something has changed. The quality of light filtering through the doorway has shifted, more golden, less intense. Outside, the sounds are different too. The rhythmic thwack of stone against wood has replaced the earlier grinding of corn. You sit up slowly, noticing that your body feels different, stronger, more accustomed to physical labour, skin darkened by months of sun exposure. The reed mat beneath you has been replaced by a newer one, the fibres still springy and resilient. The jade pendant still rests beside your sleeping place, but now it's joined by several other small objects. A smooth river stone with a natural hole through its centre, a tiny clay figurine of a jaguar, a bundle of dried herbs tied with cotton string. Rising to your feet, you move to the doorway and push aside the fabric covering. The village looks both familiar and changed. The basic layout remains the same. Limestone houses clustered around a central area, paths leading to the milpa fields beyond, but the vegetation has transformed. The corn in the nearby gardens stands tall now, heavy ears nestled among green stalks. Fruit-bearing trees are laden with ripening produce. Women work at outdoor cooking stations, preparing what appears to be a feast. Ixchel approaches, her face lighting with recognition. She's dressed more elaborately than you've seen before, her huipil embroidered with complex patterns in blue, red and yellow thread. Shell and bone ornaments adorn her braided hair. "You have returned to us," she says, her tone suggesting she's both surprised and pleased. "The gods have strange ways. It has been 3 moons since you last walked among us." 3 months have passed, though to you it seems like only a night. You've been here the entire time, apparently, working, eating, sleeping, but some other consciousness has occupied your body while your own awareness was where? The mystery of this time slipping adds another layer to the strangeness of your experience in the Maya world. Today is Kin Tajal Chak, Ixchel explains, seeing your confusion. The festival of rain abundance. We celebrate the gifts Chak has brought us this growing season. She gestures toward the flourishing gardens and milpas. The harvest will be bountiful this year. She brings you water to wash and clean clothing to wear. Another embroidered huipil, this one decorated with stylized rain symbols and representations of maize. As you dress, she explains what you've apparently been doing during the months your consciousness was absent. Helping with the planting after the first rains, participating in community work projects, learning more about Maya agricultural techniques. You've become a valued member of the community, she tells you, respected for your willingness to work and learn. And outside, the village is busy with festival preparations. Men return from the forest carrying bundles of firewood and freshly killed game, turkeys, peccaries, wild pigs, and even a small deer. Women prepare mesa dough for tamales, grind cacao beans for ceremonial drinks, and weave fresh palm fronds into decorations. Children carry water from the cenote, feed cooking fires, and play games in between chores. Kinich finds you near the central cooking area. He looks much the same, though perhaps his white hair is a bit longer, his face slightly more lined. He carries his divination pouch and a staff carved with symbols of authority. Has his status changed in the months you've been away? The dreamer returns, he says with a knowing smile. Just in time for the celebration. The gods have their reasons, though they rarely share them with us. As you help with festival preparations, Kinich fills you in on what has transpired during your absence. The rainy season has been generous, with steady precipitation ensuring good crop growth without the destructive flooding that sometimes occurs. The king visited the region again, bringing news of victories against a rival city-state to the south. Several babies have been born in the village, and 2 elders have passed to the underworld, the normal cycle of life continuing. But there are also troubling developments. Reports have come from distant regions of poor rainfall and failing crops. Refugees from these areas have begun arriving at larger cities, straining resources. Political tensions between Tikal and Calakmul, the 2 great competing powers of the Maya world, have intensified, with smaller cities being forced to declare loyalty to one or the other. Trade caravans have been attacked on major routes, disrupting the flow of goods between regions. Or some say these are signs of changing times, Kinich tells you as you work together constructing a simple altar from branches and flowers. The priests at Tikal consult the ancient books, seeking guidance from past cycles. The astronomers watch the night sky for omens. Before you can ask more questions, drumming begins at the edge of the village. The festival is officially starting. Everyone gathers in the central area, where a space has been cleared for dancing. Musicians take their places, drummers with turtle shell and wooden drums, players of reed flutes, rattlers with gourd instruments filled with seeds or pebbles. The complex polyrhythms they create seem to bypass your conscious mind and speak directly to your body, making it almost impossible to stand still. The village shaman appears, his face painted blue like Chak, wearing a headdress of feathers and carrying a staff topped with a carved serpent head. He leads a procession of elders and respected community members, including Kinich, in a circular dance around the central space. The movements are slow and deliberate, each gesture laden with meaning, telling the story of Chak bringing rain to a parched world. After this formal opening, the celebration becomes more energetic. Young men perform a dance that mimics the planting of corn, their movements vigorous and precisely coordinated. Women follow with a harvest dance, their steps lighter, arms weaving patterns that represent the growth of crops. Children dart between the adult dancers, representing the wind that carries rain clouds. Food and drink circulate freely. You're given a gourd of a special festival beverage, chocolate mixed with honey, chili, and vanilla, frothed to create a thick foam on top. The taste is unlike any chocolate you've had before, intensely bitter yet with complex sweetness. The chili adding a warmth that spreads through your chest. This is a luxury drink, normally reserved for nobility and special occasions. As the day progresses, the celebration grows more elaborate. A group of visitors arrives from a neighbouring village, bringing additional musicians and dancers. They perform a ritual ball game, not the full version played in formal courts, but a simplified version using a small rubber ball. Still, you can see elements of the cosmic symbolism, the ball representing the sun, the players enacting the eternal struggle between forces of the upper and lower worlds. Between dances and performances, you notice people speaking in hushed tones, sharing news and rumours from distant places. The same concerns Kinich mentioned seem to be on everyone's minds: drought in some regions, political tensions, disrupted trade. Yet the abundance surrounding you makes these problems seem distant, theoretical rather than immediate threats. As afternoon transitions to evening, the nature of the celebration shifts. Torches and fires illuminate the central space. The music becomes more hypnotic, the dancing more intense. Children are sent to bed while adults continue the festivities. More balche circulates, loosening inhibitions and intensifying the experience. A special dance begins, men wearing jaguar pelts and deer antlers representing the animal spirits of the forest. They move with uncanny accuracy, capturing the stalking movement of the jaguar, the nervous alertness of the deer. The boundary between human and animal seems to blur in the firelight, the dancers becoming the spirits they portray. The shaman reappears, this time accompanied by assistants carrying bundles of copal incense. The sweet smoke fills the air as he moves through the crowd, stopping to speak quietly with certain individuals. When he reaches you, his painted face is solemn. "You walk between worlds," he says, his voice barely audible above the drums. "The gods have shown you what was and what may be. Tonight they may show you why." He presses something into your hand, a small mushroom with a reddish cap. "When the moon reaches its highest point," he instructs, "consume this sacred food of the gods, then go to the sabre tree at the edge of the village and wait. They will find you there." Before you can ask questions, he moves on, continuing his circuit of the celebration. You look down at the mushroom in your palm, likely a psychedelic variety used in Maya shamanic practices. The idea of consuming it makes you nervous, yet you sense this may be a crucial part of understanding why you've been brought to this time and place. You tuck the mushroom into a small pouch at your waist and continue participating in the celebration. The food, music, and dancing provide welcome distraction from the decision that awaits you. You notice Ixchel watching you from time to time, her expression unreadable. Does she know what the shaman gave you? Is she concerned, or is this a normal part of Maya spiritual practice? As night deepens, you find yourself drawn to the edge of the celebration. The full moon has risen, casting silver light across the village and surrounding forest. The ancient sabre tree stands silhouetted against the star-filled sky, its massive trunk and spreading branches connecting the underworld, the earth, and the heavens in Maya cosmology. With a deep breath, you take the mushroom from your pouch and consume it, the flavour earthy and slightly bitter. Then you make your way to the sabre tree, finding a place to sit among its massive roots. The sounds of the celebration continue behind you, but seem increasingly distant as you focus on the tree, the moonlight, the star patterns overhead. Time passes. At first, nothing seems to change. Then gradually, subtly, your perception begins to shift. The moonlight appears more intense, the shadows deeper, the stars pulse gently, like living beings rather than distant suns. The bark of the sabre tree seems to flow and ripple, patterns emerging and dissolving like water. The boundaries between you and the world around you begin to blur. A sound draws your attention. Soft footsteps approaching through the underbrush. Several figures emerge into the moonlight, their features indistinct. As they draw nearer, you see their Maya, but dressed in a style slightly different from your village. More elaborate headdresses, more jade ornaments, their faces painted with intricate patterns. One steps forward, a woman of indeterminate age, her bearing regal, her jade jewellery marking her as high nobility or perhaps royalty. When she speaks, her voice seems to come from everywhere at once. "The pattern seeker has arrived," she says. "The one who walks between worlds, the witness." The others murmur in agreement, circling around you. Your altered state makes it difficult to determine if these are physical beings or spirits, actual Maya nobles or entities from the supernatural realm. Perhaps the distinction is meaningless in this moment, this place. "You have seen what was and what will be," the woman continues. "Now you must understand why. The knowledge must return with you, must be preserved." "I don't understand," you manage to say, your voice sounding strange to your own ears. "Why have I been brought here?" Instead of answering directly, the woman gestures and the scene around you changes. The saber tree remains, but the village is gone. In its place, you see a vast Maya city, pyramids rising above the jungle canopy, plazas paved with limestone, temples and palaces decorated with elaborate carvings and brilliant paint. People fill the streets and public spaces, nobles in jaguar pelts and quetzal feathers, warriors with obsidian-edged weapons, merchants with exotic goods, farmers bringing produce to market, children playing ball games in smaller courts. "Behold Tikal at the height of its power," the woman says. 200,000 people living in harmony with the gods and each other. The scene shifts again. The same city, but changed. Buildings showing signs of neglect. Fewer people in the plazas, fields looking parched and struggling. The brilliance has dimmed, the energy diminished. "The balance begins to fail," one of the other figures says, a man wearing the headdress of a high priest. "Too many people, too little rain, the soil exhausted by constant planting, the forest cut back farther each year." Another shift. Now the city looks abandoned, vegetation reclaiming the plazas, roofs collapsed, the once vibrant paint faded and peeling. A few people remain, living among the ruins, but the great civilization is clearly gone. "The lords fought among themselves," a warrior figure explains. Each city trying to control more resources as they became scarcer, old alliances broken, trade routes disrupted, knowledge lost as scribes and priests fled or were killed. Could nothing have prevented this, you ask? Your heart heavy with the weight of witnessing a civilization's end? The noble woman steps closer, her eyes reflecting the moonlight. The signs were there, the warnings clear to those who could read them, but the lords were consumed by their rivalries, the priests by their calendrical prophecies. The common people followed their leaders, trusting in their divine connection to the gods. By the time the truth could no longer be denied, it was too late, the priest adds. The system was too fragile, too dependent on perfect balance. When multiple pressures came together, drought, soil depletion, political conflict, disrupted trade, the center could not hold. "Why show me this?" you ask. "I can't change what happened to your civilization." The woman's expression softens. "No, but you can bear witness. You can take this knowledge back to your world. The patterns repeat. Civilizations rise and fall for similar reasons. Perhaps your people will recognize the signs earlier, adapt more quickly, avoid our fate." You begin to understand. You're not here by accident, but as an observer, a carrier of knowledge across time. These beings, whether actual Maya spirits or manifestations of your own consciousness interacting with historical information, are using you as a bridge between worlds. The mushroom's effects intensify. The figures around you seem to glow within a light. The saber tree pulses like a living heart. The stars wheel overhead, marking the passage of time in great sweeping arcs. You feel simultaneously tiny and vast, a momentary consciousness and an eternal awareness. The noble woman places her hands on either side of your face. Her touch feels cool, almost insubstantial. "Remember," she whispers. "Remember all you have seen, all you have felt, all you have learned. Carry it back with you when you return." "When will that be?" you ask, suddenly afraid that you might be trapped in this ancient time forever. "Soon," she says, her form beginning to fade. The cycle completes, the pattern closes. You have seen what you needed to see. The figures recede, blending with the shadows under the ceiba tree, until you can no longer distinguish them from the darkness. The intensified perceptions begin to gradually normalize, the stars becoming fixed points again, the tree bark solid rather than flowing, the boundaries of your body distinct once more. You sit beneath the saber tree for what feels like hours, integrating the experience, letting the mushroom's effects slowly diminish. The celebration in the village has quieted, most people having returned to their homes to sleep. Only a few fires still burn in the central area, attended by elders telling stories to whoever remains awake to listen. Eventually, you rise on slightly unsteady legs and make your way back toward your house. The village is peaceful in the moonlight, the simple limestone buildings glowing white against the dark vegetation. Chickens roost in small coops, dogs curl sleeping in doorways. Smoke rises lazily from banked cooking fires. An ordinary Maya village on an ordinary night, yet now you understand it as part of a vast historical pattern, a moment in the rise and fall of a sophisticated civilization. Ixchel is waiting in your house, sitting by a small fire. She looks up as you enter, her expression revealing that she knows where you've been, what you've experienced. "The gods spoke to you," she says. "It's not a question." You nod, settling onto a mat near the fire. Your body feels heavy, your mind simultaneously expanded and exhausted. The mushroom's direct effects have mostly faded, but a profound shift in perception remains, as if you're seeing everything from a greater distance, with both more clarity and more compassion. "They showed me the future of the Maya world," you tell her. "Cities abandoned, the great civilization fallen." Ixchel nods slowly. "Such visions have come to others. The daykeepers speak of challenging times ahead, of the need to prepare, to adapt, but few listen. Life continues, as it always has, planting and harvesting, celebrating and mourning, living according to the rhythms set by our ancestors. Can nothing change what's coming, you ask? She pokes at the fire with a stick, sending sparks upward. The future is like water. It follows the path of least resistance, but can be channeled with sufficient effort. Perhaps some communities will find ways to survive, to preserve knowledge, to adapt to changing conditions. Others will cling to old ways until it's too late. This is the pattern of all civilizations, is it not? Her wisdom surprises you, though it shouldn't. The Maya weren't primitive people, but sophisticated thinkers who understood ecological relationships, astronomical cycles, and human nature. Some may have recognized the warning signs of their civilization's overextension, but lacked the collective will or centralized authority to implement large-scale solutions. You sit in contemplative silence with Ixchel as the fire burns lower. Your body grows increasingly heavy, the combination of the festival's exertions, the mushroom's effects, and the emotional weight of your vision leaving you profoundly tired. Your eyelids droop, your breathing slows. Ixchel helps you to your sleeping mat, placing a light cotton blanket over you despite the warm night. "Rest now," she says softly. "Your spirit has travelled far tonight. Sleep will help you integrate what you've learned." As you sink into the mat, feeling the familiar texture of woven reeds against your skin, a thought surfaces from the depths of your consciousness. Is this your last night in the ancient Maya world? Has the purpose of your mysterious journey been fulfilled? Will you wake tomorrow in your own time or continue to experience life among these people who lived and died centuries before your birth? The questions dissolve as sleep approaches. Your muscles relax completely, surrendering to exhaustion. Your breathing deepens, finds its natural rhythm. The sounds of the night forest, insects, frogs, distant howler monkeys create a living lullaby that carries you toward unconsciousness. Your last aware thought is of the ceiba tree, its roots reaching into the underworld, its trunk anchored in the world of humans, its branches stretching toward the realm of gods and ancestors, connecting all levels of existence just as you now connect past and present, their civilization and your own. In this connection perhaps lies wisdom that transcends the rise and fall of particular human societies. Sleep claims you fully, drawing you down into profound stillness. Your body becomes heavy, immobile. Your mind quiets, thoughts slowing until they cease altogether. Only the gentle rise and fall of your chest marks the continuing journey of your consciousness, through time, through worlds, through the eternal patterns of existence. You awaken to the sound of rain, not the violent downpour of a storm, but the gentle, persistent patter of steady rainfall on the thatched roof above. The light filtering through the doorway is soft and diffuse, suggesting early morning beneath overcast skies. For a moment, you lie perfectly still, trying to determine where and when you are. The familiar weight of the jade pendant rests against your chest, the earthy scent of the packed dirt floor, dampened slightly by the humid air, fills your nostrils. The texture of the reed mat beneath you has left temporary impressions on your skin. You're still here, still in the ancient Maya world, at least for now. Sitting up slowly, you notice you're alone in the limestone house. Ixchel must have risen earlier and left you to sleep. Your body feels different again. Neither the initial unfamiliarity of your first awakening nor the sun-strengthened form after the 3-month time jump. Instead, there's a peculiar lightness, as if you're somehow less substantial, less firmly anchored in this time and place. You rise and move to the doorway, pushing aside the fabric covering. Outside, the village is quiet, the rain having driven most people indoors. A few children splash in puddles, their brown bodies glistening with moisture, their laughter carrying across the open area between houses. Women hurry between buildings with baskets protected from the rain by large leaves held overhead. In the distance, beyond the milpa fields, mist clings to the jungle canopy, softening the landscape into watercolour washes of green and grey. Kinich appears, making his way carefully along the muddy path to your house. He wears a simple rain cape made from palm leaves woven together, the water streaming off it in small rivulets. His feet are bare, caked with mud to the ankles. When he reaches your doorway, he removes the cape and shakes it out before entering. "You have slept long," he says, settling on a small wooden stool near the banked cooking fire. "The sun has been up for hours, though you cannot see it through the clouds." "I had powerful dreams," you tell him, remembering the visionary experience beneath the ceiba tree, unsure how much was mushroom-induced and how much was genuine contact with something beyond ordinary consciousness. Kinich nods. The sacred mushroom opens doorways between worlds. What seems like dreams may be more real than our waking life. He studies your face carefully. Something has changed. Your spirit sits differently in your body now, lighter, more ready for flight. His perception confirms your own sense of decreasing solidity in this world. Are you beginning to return to your own time? The thought brings mixed emotions, eagerness to return to the familiar, sadness at leaving these people who have become friends, anxiety about carrying the knowledge you've gained back to a world that might not understand or value it. "The rain will continue all day," Kinich says, changing the subject. "A good day for stories and indoor work. Come, Ixchel has prepared a meal at my house. My grandchildren wish to hear tales of the ancient ones, of the hero twins and the creation of the world. Perhaps you would join us?" You follow him through the rain to his house, slightly larger than yours, with elaborate woven mats covering the floor and walls decorated with painted symbols. Inside, several generations of his family have gathered. Ixchel, who seems to be his daughter or daughter-in-law, several younger adults who must be his children, and a handful of children ranging from toddlers to adolescents. All look up with interest as you enter. A meal is spread on a large woven mat in the centre. Corn tamales, a stew of beans and chilies, sliced papaya and other tropical fruits. The family makes space for you in their circle, and Ixchel hands you a gourd plate filled with food. The atmosphere is warm and intimate, a family sheltering from the rain, sharing sustenance and stories. As you eat, Kainich begins to tell stories, not in the formal style of priests reciting sacred texts, but in the comfortable manner of an elder sharing wisdom with younger generations. He tells of the creation of the world, how the gods attempted 3 times to make beings who would worship them properly, first from mud, then from wood, and finally from maize, creating the true humans. He describes the adventures of the hero twins, Hunahpu and Exbalanque, who descended to the underworld, defeated the lords of death through cleverness and courage, and became the sun and moon. The children listen with rapt attention, though they've clearly heard these stories before. They interrupt occasionally with questions or to request favourite parts. The adults listen too, their faces reflecting the comfort of familiar narratives that connect them to their ancestors and explain their place in the cosmos. You realise these oral traditions are how the Maya preserve and transmit their cultural knowledge. Even though they have a sophisticated writing system, most people are not literate. Stories told around cooking fires during rain delays in agricultural work as part of ceremonies and celebrations. These are the primary vehicles of cultural continuity for ordinary Maya. After the meal and stories, the day settles into quiet indoor activities. Women weave or sew by the doorway where light is strongest. Men carve wood or repair tools. Children play quiet games with clay figurines or practice useful skills like weaving simple baskets. The steady rhythm of rain on the thatched roof creates a soothing backdrop to these domestic activities. You help where you can, but mostly observe, aware that your time here may be limited. You notice details you might have missed before, how the Maya waste almost nothing, finding uses for every part of the plants and animals they harvest, how they teach children through patient example rather than formal instruction, how they move through their world with an awareness of its spiritual dimensions, pausing to acknowledge the divine in ordinary moments. As afternoon fades toward evening, the rain finally stops. Sunlight breaks through the clouds briefly before sunset, turning the wet landscape golden. People emerge from their houses, stretching and breathing deeply of the rain-cleansed air. Children immediately resume splashing in puddles. Women gather to collect fresh rainwater from large vessels placed to catch the runoff from thatched roofs. Men assess any damage from the day-long downpour, repairing minor issues with paths or drainage channels. Kainich invites you to walk with him to the edge of the village. The path is muddy, every step creating a satisfying squelch as your feet sink slightly into the soft earth. Water drips from leaves and branches overhead, occasionally landing with cool precision on your head or shoulders. The forest smells intensely alive. The rich aroma of damp soil, the green scent of vegetation, the subtle perfume of flowers coaxed open by the rain. You reach the ceiba tree where you had your visionary experience. In the last light of day, with water droplets clinging to its massive trunk and hanging from its branches like tiny crystals, it seems even more magnificent, a living axis connecting worlds, its roots reaching deep into the underworld, its crown extending toward the heavens. "You will leave us soon," Kainich says quietly, his statement surprising you with its directness. "Your spirit grows lighter with each passing hour. By morning I think you will have returned to your own world." How can you know this, you ask, though you sense the truth in his words? He smiles, the last sunlight catching the cloudy film over his eyes, making them seem to glow from within. I have walked with the gods in visions. I have seen the patterns of time and space. Your presence here has always been temporary, a visitor from another world, another time, brought here to witness, to learn, to understand. Why me, you ask, the question that has lingered since your first awakening in this ancient world. Kinich shrugs. Why does the rain fall on one milpa and not another? Why does one seed grow while another fails? The gods have their reasons, though they rarely share them with us. He pauses, considering. Perhaps you were chosen because you have the capacity to understand, to bridge worlds, to carry knowledge forward. You stand in silence for a moment, watching fireflies begin to emerge in the gathering dusk, their tiny lights blinking on and off among the vegetation. What should I take back with me, you ask finally? What knowledge is most important to preserve? Kinich leans on his walking stick, his weathered face thoughtful. Remember that we were not simple people. We understood mathematics, astronomy, architecture, agriculture, art and writing. We created beauty and knowledge that endured for thousands of years. His voice grows more solemn. But also remember our failures, how even with all our wisdom, we could not overcome the combined challenges of drought, soil depletion, overpopulation and political conflict. He reaches out to touch the massive trunk of the ceiba tree, his palm flat against the rough bark. Most importantly, remember that all things exist in cycles, seasons, human lives, civilizations. Growth is followed by decline, which is followed by renewal in new forms. Death is not an ending but a transformation. This is the deepest wisdom of our people. As darkness falls completely, you walk back to the village together. Cooking fires glow in doorways, creating pools of warm light in the gathering night. The sound of gentle conversation, occasional laughter, and soft singing creates a peaceful atmosphere. This is the Maya world at its most intimate, not the grand ceremonies or massive construction projects that usually define them in history books, but the quiet moments of community that formed the foundation of their society. A simple evening meal is shared, after which people begin preparing for sleep. The exertions of the previous day's festival, combined with the soporific effect of the day-long rain, have left everyone ready for early rest. You return to your house with Ixchel, who helps prepare your sleeping area, seemingly aware that this might be your last night among them. You have been a blessing to our household, she says, as she smooths the reed mat. The gods sent you for a purpose, though such purposes are not always clear to us who live beneath them. She brings a small clay cup filled with a liquid that smells of honey and herbs. Drink this, she instructs. It will help your spirit find its proper path home. The liquid tastes sweet with underlying bitter notes. Almost immediately, a pleasant warmth spreads through your body, relaxing your muscles and quieting your thoughts. Ixchel helps you lie down on the mat, placing the jade pendant carefully on your chest. Keep this with you, she says. Jade preserves life force. It will protect you during your journey. She sings softly as you lie there, a melody without words that somehow conveys both sadness and acceptance. The sound wraps around you like a comfortable blanket, easing any anxiety about the transition you sense approaching. Your eyelids grow heavy, your breathing slows, your awareness of the physical world begins to recede. As sleep approaches, your mind fills with images from your time among the Maya, working in the milpa fields under the tropical sun, sharing meals of corn, beans and chili, witnessing the blood ritual at the ceremonial center, exploring the vibrant marketplace, dancing during the rain festival, sitting beneath the saber tree as visions revealed the rise and fall of a great civilization. You've experienced the Maya world not as an abstract archaeological subject, but as a living reality, complex, sophisticated, deeply human. You've seen both its achievements and its vulnerabilities, its spiritual depth and its practical adaptations to a challenging environment. Most importantly, you've recognized patterns that transcend this particular civilization, that apply to all human societies, including your own. Your body grows increasingly heavy, seemingly melting into the reed mat beneath you. Ixchel's song becomes more distant, though whether she's moving away or your consciousness is shifting, you cannot tell. The soft glow of the copal incense burning in the corner creates dancing patterns of light and shadow on the limestone walls, patterns that begin to form images: pyramids, jaguars, maize plants, flowing water, the great cosmic tree connecting worlds. As your awareness balances on the threshold between waking and sleeping, you sense other presences in the small house, not physical beings but entities of some other nature, perhaps ancestors, perhaps gods, perhaps manifestations of your own deeper consciousness. They gather around you, not threatening but protective, forming a circle of witnessing as you prepare for your journey home. One steps forward. The noble woman from your saber tree vision, her jade jewelry glinting in the dim light. "You have seen," she says, her voice seeming to come from both outside and inside your head simultaneously. "You have learned, you have understood. Now carry this knowledge back to your world." "Will I remember everything?" you ask, your voice sounding strange and distant to your own ears. "The details may fade like morning mist," she acknowledges, "but the essential wisdom will remain buried in your deep mind, influencing your perceptions and choices. The patterns, once recognized, cannot be unseen." Another figure steps forward, Keenich, though somehow younger, stronger, his eyes clear and bright. "Remember that we did not simply disappear," he says. "Our civilization transformed. Our descendants continue to carry our blood, our language, our knowledge of plants and stars, our understanding of time's sacred cycles. Even in your day, the Maya people endure." This perspective shifts your understanding. The collapse of Maya civilization wasn't a complete end, but a transformation, a decentralization, a return to smaller-scale living, an adaptation to changing conditions. While the great cities were abandoned and the complex political systems disintegrated, the people themselves continued preserving core elements of their culture through centuries of challenge and change. The figures begin to fade, their forms becoming transparent, merging with the shadows. The limestone walls of the house seem less solid, more permeable. The sounds of the nighttime forest, insects, frogs, distant howler monkeys grow simultaneously, more intense and more distant, as if you're both more and less present in this world with each passing moment. Your body now feels impossibly heavy and strangely weightless at the same time. The jade pendant on your chest pulses with warmth, its energy spreading through your body in waves that synchronize with your heartbeat. Your breathing slows further, becoming so deep and regular that each inhalation seems to draw in not just air, but time itself, each exhalation releasing you gradually from this ancient world. As consciousness fades, one final image forms in your mind. The great Maya city of Tikal, as it once was, vibrant with life, its white limestone buildings gleaming in tropical sunlight, its plazas filled with people, its temples reaching toward the sky. Then the image shifts, showing the same city reclaimed by jungle, its structures partially hidden by vegetation, monkeys and toucans inhabiting spaces once filled with human activity.